Welcome to Master the Game. I am Juice, and we are on day 3 of the Master the Game 30-day world building challenge. Today, we are talking about water sources. So let's get started. So this prompt is supposed to be about where they would get their water from to drink and things like that. I'm taking a little bit different approach to this. My approach to this is going to be, I'm going to talk about my main bodies of water. I have a few large bodies of water in my world. I've put some focus on some of the oceans, but not a ton. And I've got plenty of rivers and lakes throughout my world that I've named, and you can see all that if you go back to the maps video from yesterday, where I show off the different lakes and rivers and oceans and things like that. The big thing about my world is, again, I've only mapped out about 1/6 or 1/8 of the world. I want to have a massive ocean. I want this planet to be a blue world, as you might call it. One of the features of my world I want is almost a drop off in the ocean. So really far away from the mainlands, I want the ocean to just drop down into like a whirlpool. And I want this to be like the size of maybe a continent. Like I want it to be this massive thing. And if you fall down the drop off before getting sucked into the whirlpool, it's basically impossible to get out of it without some kind of magical means. Now, this ocean that this is going to lie in is the never-ending ocean. And it's called that because, obviously, it hasn't been fully explored. With the world this large and only being able to travel by ship for the most part, it's very hard to discover everything in the world. I want a lot of this world to be undiscovered. The never-ending ocean is a huge focal point when you talk about large bodies of water. On the west side of my main continent, I have what's called the Obsidian Sea. It's just west of my Blackrock Adventures game, where you have Port Obsidia, the Blackrock Cliffs, all of that stuff. And I actually want the Obsidian Sea to be considered fairly safe. Not a lot of pirate activity and things like that. You might have some more primitive races that do have boats over there, but for the most part, you don't have the massive naval influence. You don't have the pirates and raiders, that you might have on the Eastern Sea over at the Neverending Sea. Part of the appeal of the Neverending Sea is there's so much to explore. There's treasures to find, all sorts of things like that, and so it draws more of those types of adventurers to that side. When you get further north, I have what's called the Glass Coast. Now, the Glass Coast gets its name from the fact that most of that ocean freezes over in the wintertime, and as it starts to melt and break up, the shards of ice wash up on the shore just north of Stonehall Keep and all of that along their northern border in that small continent, and it looks like shards of glass, so they've decided to call it the Glass Coast. In the Orc's Arrow Peninsula, we have what is called the Lake of the Dead. Now, the Lake of the Dead is exactly what you would think. It is a lake. It gets its name from orc necromancers. Now, when a orc dies in battle, they try to bring the orcs back, and they drop their bodies in this lake. But they don't just stop there. They will bring other dead back. Dead humans, dead dwarves, dead mountain bears, whatever, and they throw it in this lake. And they have necromancers who resurrect them to have undead servants. So again, the Lake of the Dead gets its name from that. They do like a little ritual before they put them into the water kind of thing. Think almost like a Viking type of ritual where they put them on the boats, cover them with like wood, push it off, shoot an arrow, let it burn, sink to the bottom, and then sometimes bring it back to life. Something along those lines. I haven't put a ton of thought into that yet, but that's my idea for it. And they only do that for the orcs. They don't do that for like the dwarves or whatever, right? I also have the Lake of the Mountains, which is in the Western Dwarven Territory. It is basically near a desert, and it is the primary source of water over there. We also have the Red Lake, which is in the Western Dwarven Territory. It's got a high iron content of it. It's not necessarily safe water to drink. I haven't put a ton of thought into it. I got to come up with more for that. Again, it is a desert lake, And I'm thinking like there's maybe like large amounts of iron deposits in it and things like that. I'm not quite sure what might give it that red look, but I'm feeling some ideas out for that still. I have what is called the River of Tears and the Lake of Sorrows, which are just west of Eagle View, which is a large city that's built upward, known for its really large tower in the center. But anyways, the River of Tears and Lake of Sorrows gets its name from old god that used to be in the area. Again, I haven't fleshed out a story on that yet, but that's where the name comes from. They believe this old god actually perished in the mountains over there. So that's the idea there. I also have Crimea River and Lake Longshadow, which are west of Chiton. Crimea River it's just a play on words. It's Crimea River. Anyways, we came up with that name on a stream once, and I really liked it, actually. So I'm keeping it just because of that. But Lake Longshadow gets its name from the fact that there's a moving shadow deep in this lake, and nobody knows what it is, and it's very long. Could be some kind of serpent. Think something like a Loch Ness Monster kind of deal. So that's where that name is coming from, and that's west of Chiton, which is just north of Eagle View. We have the Black Lake, which is up north on the main continent near Stormhaven. It's just a dark lake. There's been all sorts of activity. I had a one shot there once, and the lake water got contaminated in that game, I believe. I'll have to go back and check that out. But yeah, long story short, I have a one shot. You can go check that out if you feel like watching a game from like 4 years ago about Black Lake. Hillside Lake is north of Port Obsidia, much like really far north. It's in an area by a bunch of hills. Again, geographic type of name, which is very common in my world. That's how I like to try and name things. And really nothing suspicious to write about. I got nothing crazy about it right now. I have another lake called Deep Murky, and it's east of Durgarhold, which is even further north than all the Blackrock stuff, but not quite east enough to be the Valkar Kingdoms. And yeah, we just have a lake that's called Deep Murky. It's nasty, dirty water, but it's drinkable, livable. It's fine. It is what it is. I've been trying to think of what could be in the water. Maybe there's something that lies in the bottom of this lake. Not necessarily a creature, but maybe some lost treasure or something there that's important. I haven't fleshed that part of the continent out yet. We have the North Lake, which is north of the Valkar Kingdom. It is one of two major lakes near Valkar Kingdom. The other one is the Lake of Heroes. The North Lake is just a standard lake. Nothing special about it per se. It's relatively safe. It's good fishing lake, things like that. No big deal. The Lake of Heroes, however, has all sorts of paranormal activity. Ghosts, probably have hags. It's just north of a bunch of swamps. It has the Lady of the Lake, something along those lines. You've got dungeons that are like around this lake, ruins around this lake. So again, there's a lot of things to discover in this around this lake. So those are my main bodies of water that I've come up with in my world, and that's all on this 2 continent area. I've got other places in my world that I've mapped out and done stuff, but I haven't put as much thought into the water in those other parts. But yeah, so I really like what I've come up with so far. I think there's a lot more I can do with it. I've got a waterfall in my game that it's in the northern continent near Stonehall Keep, where there's a red dragon who likes to bathe in a hot spring on the top of a mountain cliff that actually has a waterfall that flows down into and then turns into a river. My players have come near that red dragon in a game before, and the red dragon saw them and didn't pay any attention to them, didn't really give a crap, right? Now, they also did not pursue it. So if they would have went and stayed in the water down under the waterfall, then yeah, they would have been attacked probably and TPK'd, because let's face it, an ancient red dragon isn't going to be easy to take on. So again, I like to incorporate things like that, like hot springs and stuff like that. And a hot spring in my world is very rare, right? It's not a common thing. But when it's found, it's an important thing. You know, a city might build itself all around a hot spring if they can. A creature like a dragon might take that up as its main area. In this case, the red dragon definitely has a lair around there, and that spot it views as its spot. Now, in my world, hot springs tend to have healing properties. They tend to be able to heal you and give you other positive conditions. I've incorporated hot springs in dungeons, in caverns, I should say. And I've done that too, where the hot spring is not only being fought over by the inhabitants of the caverns, but at the same time, it's got healing properties. So there's more to it than just, it's a nice warm bath. It's got something to it that more than just that. So these are things I love. I love worrying about stuff like that and coming up with ideas for these things. So I can't wait to really write these up, come up with more lore about some of these, especially the ones I said I haven't come up with a lot of thought for yet. I'm really excited to write about these and flesh them out a little bit more. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So would love to hear about, main bodies of water, whether it's oceans, seas, lakes, rivers, springs, whatever. Maybe you have underground rivers and things like that. I would love to hear about that. Please leave a comment below. Give us a like if you're enjoying these videos, and subscribe to catch the rest of this series. We also have live plays and all sorts of other stuff. But we'd love to see you guys jump on this, start doing the this 30-day challenge. You can do this whenever you want. You don't have to do it at the same time as me. You do it at your own pace. But I would love to see what you guys come up with. Join our Discord where you can discuss this. And if you want to see what I write up based on all of this month, head on over to our Patreon. You can become a backer for $1. I will make this a PDF at the end of the 30 days, everything I've written up. And you will have access to what I have from my world. So with that, this was Master of the Game. I am Juice. Game on.